Hello, lovely lady.
How are you?
Good, how are you?
Loving the weather.
Oh, it's a beautiful day, isn't she?
Yeah.
Hold on 1 second, sweetie. I'm just going to close my blind. That's better.
There we go. And I switched my glasses. That looks better. Because, yeah, it's just interesting how my face stands out more where you've got dark rims on too. So it just seems to make a difference on photos. So
It does. I don't know why, but yeah.
I hear ya. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to share, I recorded this, so you'll get a copy of it, okay? So I took a picture of your astrological information, which shows an image of what was happening in the sky the day you were born, because we don't have your exact birth time. So there's a lot of things we can get information, but the more specific stuff, unfortunately, we need, the exact time, but there's still lots I can share with you. So I'm going to show you that. And then I will also send you a copy of this video. I'll send you the printed version of what I'm sharing with you, because I actually make a file document and then I transfer it into a Word document so I can send that Word document to you, so you always have it. Okay.
Nice.
Yeah. All right. So because when it's people that don't know anything about astrology, sometimes just the basic stuff will make your hair stand up. So here we go. I'm going to show you the photo of what it looks like first so you understand. Okay. So
Yes, I've seen that. I've seen this before.
yeah. So what that means is this is you in the middle. And the
Yes.
minute you took your first breath, when you look up into the astrological sky, this area here is the eastern horizon.
Okay.
If we knew the exact time, this is where the planets would be in the house. But where the planets are on the inside here, that's the actual planets, where they were in the astrological signs the day you took your first breath when you landed. These pictures on the outside that are in green are where the planets are right now. Okay. So in some of the readings, whatever. So you can make reference to this, or I can come back and make reference. But just really quickly, what I'll share with you right now is this image here. Do you see my arrow bopping around?
Yes.
Okay, that's your sun sign. So Libra. Mercury was sitting right next to the sun. Okay, so Mercury we're going to talk about today is how your intellectual mind works. Okay, it's how your thinking patterns, because there's 12 houses. So
Yes.
we don't all think the same. Shockingly enough, right? When you learn people's Mercury sign, that's how you get along better with family members, work partners, or how your mind works best in business. So it's really good to validate that. And then your moon sign we're going to talk about too, which is your subconscious. It's the part of you that nobody else knows but you. So it's good to know that. It's very validating. And then we're going to talk about Saturn. Saturn was over here in the sign of Gemini. Okay, so that's where we're going to start with. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay, so here is your data. I have that up on the screen. Now, did it show on Zoom how I switched slides and it's now just a PDF?
Yes. Well,
Okay.
I still have the screen.
It went away? Okay. Because sometimes it sticks when we're on Zoom. I don't know why. So anyways, I took that image off the screen. So I'm going to read from the chart. And then if you want, we'll go back to that image, because it just kind of validates it. So I just throw in a disclaimer at the beginning. So if you paid for this, I didn't know that Tammy actually paid for my ticket. She told me that after. I thought she was just kind enough to give me a ticket. And she goes, no, I paid for it. I said, oh, I didn't understand that. I said, but I already did your readings. So I said, I'm just going to connect with you anyway. So it's all good, right?
Yeah, I'm staying out of that. I didn't know what was happening.
Either did I. So I'm like, it's all good, right? Whatever happens, it's meant to be. So I said, no worries. I offered that. Okay, so I just write in here. So this is, it's just an honor for me to take the information, assuming that the information you gave me on your birth chart data, the day is correct. And if some people are giving us the exact time, when they say that, yeah, that's the time I'm born, I'm like, well, that's how I'm going to do your reading. So if it doesn't make sense, then you better check your information. Because astrology can be exact. So it's just, you know, I never tell someone what to do. I'm just sharing the information with you, and it's up to you what you decide to do with it, right? Same as what you do, right? Do what you want, right?
Yes.
And for fun. Okay, so your actual birthday, when you add up the year, when we break down into a digit, like the year you were born, the day you were born, and the month, it's a single digit, right? And then I add it all up, and then I break it down. I didn't put my worksheet on here, but anyways, what is the day you were born? I don't have it actually on here. What was the date
October
again?
20th, 71. I think my numerology number is 3.
Yeah, so it's 3. So that's correct. So we break it down, like October is 10th month, 20. So it's 10 is 1 plus 0, 2 plus 0, 1 plus 9 plus 7 plus 1. And then to get it down to a single digit. Yeah, so it's 3. So in astrology, the number 3 is represented with the planet of Jupiter. So your personality profile can reveal that you're versatile, adaptable, and may not feel satisfied unless you're constantly moving forward and changing. You might also enjoy looking at situations as a challenge that needs to be overcome. You have a love of order and discipline. You are fun to be around with a gift of words, but you're not always realistic. However, you may not have the ability to think of others and may appear extremely bossy at times. So again, this is when you're young, right? So as we grow, maybe feeling impatient and indifferent to others' opinions, but be careful of this so you can balance out your ideas along with the same in other people. So over time, we develop. Your career or job would be most suitable if it allows you to travel and offers potential for your growth. You will need to use your sense of authority, right? So it means that whatever it is that you're doing, you need to be growing spiritually in order for you to feel fulfilled. Your core personality is, again, you're a Libra, right? So that's your sun sign. So your sun sign in astrology is what you know about yourself that you don't even need to describe. It's like this innate part of you that, you know, there's parts of your personality. It's like, it's different from everybody else. So a Libra represents you're quite eager to cooperate and spend a lot of your time trying not to rock the boat. You're the peacemaker and you enjoy balance in your life. You might end up trying to be everything to everyone. So be careful when you don't tell the whole truth, or you might come across as being untruthful to others. So that is, again, as we grow, we balance that out. So I can relate to a bit of a Libra because I have a Libra rising. So with Libra, again, it's because Libra finds balance. So sometimes it's like we see the truth and we see the underside of the truth, right? Because you're the peacemaker. So those are people that usually sometimes they wind up being in jobs as like lawyers or judges or counselors or therapists, because it's about seeing both sides of things, right? Like you see both sides, right? So that's who you are. You know, it's kind of like sometimes people will say something to you, but you know the other side of it. You know it, right? So look at what you do for a living. I find it so fascinating. I find this fascinating because a lot of Libra people wind up being some form of a therapist or a counselor. Your element for your sun sign is an air sign, okay? So it represents wind, okay? So you're entertaining, mentally stimulated, and a social animal. The conversation of astrology, science, and just about anything captures your attention for a short period. You are here to lighten up our world and to make us think. So there's a lot of air. And we're going to talk about that in your chart too, because you have a lot of air in your chart, which I'll go back and show you that picture. Your moon sign is, again, it's what other people don't know about you. We assume they know, but in astrology, that's the part of you. So if you could visualize like who you are in your house when you know nobody's watching, and that's who you are. It's like it's like the hidden realm, because it's our subconscious and it represents what bubbles up for us and what we're feeling and what we need to pay attention to, right? So it's unique to us. So in astrology, your moon sign is very close to Libra, but it's in the sign of Scorpio. And when I do a lot of videos and I try to describe the energy of Scorpio, Scorpio lives on the bottom of the ocean. They live in deep water. And it's kind of like, you know, when a Scorpio lands on the bottom of, say, an ocean or whatever, when he first lands, it's kind of like the sensation of like the dirt, the muddle that happens when it lands on the bottom of the ocean. And as he starts to move through it, it becomes very clear. And it's kind of like deep and intense energy. So it's one of the deepest and most intense and powerful energies in a moon sign, because the moon represents water. It represents feelings and emotion. So it represents your depth and your like sense of deepness and intensity. So it's real, that's a powerful sign for a moon sign. So it also represents that you seek out that emotional intensity, and you're able to see beyond the facade and cut right to the core of a person. Like you can see, you can sense the shit, right? So this ability to see what isn't obvious to the rest of the world or to the other people around it can be intimidating to others or wildly attractive depending on the audience. So depending on who feels comfortable with that, right? You could experience an emotionally intense life with plenty of drama, which includes ups and downs, but self-awareness and self-acceptance is probably the best way to handle your deep need for that emotional drama. All right. So because you have it, you can handle it for other people or guide people on how to handle that. Your moon element, again, with it being in Scorpio, that's the water sign. So if the moon is in a water sign, you are highly sensitive. Your body responds to your instincts and your intuition requires that time out. So it's okay to cry. And once you return to the calm, you're very instinctual and authentic. It's okay to pull away from people and to get to your calm, but not for long. So again, you know, these astrology signatures are for people at any stage in life. So because, you know, we've been around here for a while, you may already realize that about yourself. I do notice a lot of people that are healers, mediums, intuitives, they have to clear other people's energy. Like you need to schedule that in your daily regimen. Like you do your readings, you do your events, but after that, it's like time for Jackie, because you got to clear the dust. You got to clear off everybody else's stuff, right? So just knowing that is good to know. Your Mercury sign, again, that's the little glyph with the little guy with the hat on, is in Scorpio. So your Mercury and your Sun are very close together, which means you're naturally suspicious. And sometimes you can initially expect the bad intentions first, but you love that intrigue and the mystery and the hidden motives. If you don't channel this interest into mental pursuits, you could wind up creating your own mysteries, but you can use this to your advantage so that others don't start wondering if you're paranoid. You tend to love anything that challenges the brain and are often interested in what makes people tick. Your intelligence is usually very instinctive. So that's not a negative energy. That is learning how to, you know, find that inner detective, right? To use that to help others, but to also realize that's one of your superpowers. Like that's what you can do, right? So it's kind of like, you know, Scorpio, when you have Scorpio, again, it's that intense energy, but that's the sign of the detective, like to get to the bottom of something. And it's easy for you to do that because, you know, you can sense it because that's in your moon sign as well. So your Mercury element is water. And if Mercury is in a water sign, your mind is quiet, intuitive, and receptive. So at worst, your mind can get swamped with feelings and you can't think straight or find words. But at best, you're able to be patient and wait for your feelings to subside. And then this allows for the thoughts and everything to become clear, right? So remember that muddle that I was talking about, the Scorpio? It's like at first it can seem really overwhelming and a lot, but it just starts to clear, right? And then that's how you get your downloads and whatever. So with your Saturn sign, Saturn is in astrology where we get our ass kicked over and over and over until we learn the lessons. And in astrology, when we look at someone's chart and we're studying or we're working with a client, and whatever, sometimes people are going through a crisis. An astrologer always knows to look for Saturn, right? Because Saturn is doing something so that people gain the knowledge. So Saturn moves around the Earth, and it takes 28 and a half years approximately to do a whole cycle around the Earth. But every 4 years, or pardon me, every 7 years, that's a quarter of Saturn circles. Because even in astrology, everything is divided by 4. There's 4 elements, 4 cycles of every planet, and it causes tension and squares. And so every 7 years, Saturn is showing up somewhere in our life to go, hey, this is really what you're here to learn. And so it's going to cause crisis and it's going to cause challenges for people to overcome. But later in life, it's like in astrology, they call it Santa. He gives you the gifts because you learn the lesson. It's like your soul is like, I get it. I've overcome that, or, I have the wisdom now where I can use that to help other people, or just to give myself a sense of peace and solace, understanding why I'm here. Because we all come here with a lesson for our soul. So Saturn is the astrological planet that is kicking our butt. It's kind of like he's the hard knocks of life. So every 7 years, if you were to think back and go through your life, maybe around the age of 7, maybe around the age of 14, 21, 28, in your 50s, 56, it's like the same stuff seems to keep happening, but maybe it showed up with a different person or a different area of your life. And so you can look at Saturn and go, yeah, that's a repeating pattern. So it's powerful to understand that, because then it just makes us realize that, there's a purpose to all of this. So for you, your Saturn sign is teaching you that your mind can get the best of you. And I'll go back and I'm going to show you where the Saturn was, because it was in the sign of Gemini. So Gemini represents the intellectual mind because it's ruled by the planet Mercury. Okay, so again, this is a lot of the mind stuff for you showing up. So once you realize that this is just the one voice of many that will live in your head, you can find your observer. So for you, the position of the observer will set you free. And for a lot of people that have this meditation, so we have an example here of putting on the music of Satnam Kur in order to quiet the noises in your head, or to use the binaural beat music, or for anything. So for someone like you that has this meditation, however it is that you find it for you, is going to turn out to be your superpower. Does that make sense? Because that's going to give you the gift.
Right, but also being hearing impaired, I'm deaf. So literally, like when the hearing aids come out, I don't hear anything. So I'm in constant silence. So my mind is able to, doing what I do, it's always connected. It's hard to explain, but I do the meditation for my own self, physical self, not for my own mind. I do it for my own physical self. Because I know that it's hard to explain.
Yeah, I get that. And it's interesting because, knowing that about your chart, not that I could do, an in-depth study of your chart yet, but I bought a course last year, and it's next that I'm going to do is to become a medical astrologer. And in medical astrology, it shows you the signatures in someone's chart that would indicate something like that. I don't know it, but your chart might be really fascinating for me to use as like a practice student, right? Because
Yeah,
they look
yeah,
at physical things. Like I know for
yeah.
me, I was born with a partial ear. They didn't think I could hear. That showed up in my chart. So it's stuff like that. So it would be fascinating, but I'm sure you have an indication in your chart that is going to validate that. Were you born deaf, Jackie?
Yeah, I was supposed to be born. Story has it I was to be born on Christmas Day, and came in 2 months early. So I was a pound and a half, that's just under 2 pounds. And they didn't think I was going to make it. They baptized me in the hospital. I spent about 6 months at Sick Kids, and just kept going to Sick Kids for years. And I guess it was the babysitter that noticed that I didn't hear, that I had a speech impediment. So then that's when they discovered I was hearing impaired. And I could hear but not hear. And just over the course of the years, it just got worse and worse. And they can't explain it. They don't know why. Or I just recently, I guess within the last year, yeah, not even a year, but within the last year, I've had an MRI to see what the update would be, if there's any chance of surgery. They can't explain why my hearing is the way that it is, the way that it's gone, the way that it's gone, but they won't touch me. I'm too high risk for the situation that's there. I
Yeah,
won't come out I won't come out the same way.
that's so fascinating. You're not going to believe this.
Mhm.
I was born with the same story. I was 6.5 weeks premature. I was
Wow.
born in 64. My mother fell down on the ice in the wintertime and went into premature labor. And she wound up in the hospital. And right after I was born, well, right when I was born, they didn't think I was going to live either because I was just over 2 pounds, same as you. They
Yeah,
could put me in the
yeah,
palm of their hand.
yeah.
And it was a really bad snowstorm. And I needed to go to Sick Kids because they didn't think I was going to live either. So same story. They had the
Wow.
minister come into the room and baptize me and told my
Wow.
mother she's probably not going to live. It's a 50-50 chance.
Yeah.
And my dad, they asked my dad, because he was a taxi driver, to drive me to Sick Kids with a nurse in the back in an incubator because there was no ambulances because everybody was out on the road on emergency calls. And my dad used to cry every time he told that story, right? Like there was always, I always had
Yeah.
this connection with my dad. So it's interesting that my dad always comes through
I think
because
that's
when I,
why you're so bonded. That's why you're
yeah,
so bonded, right?
oh, we're
So when I
so
see you,
bonded.
not to get into the whole spiritual aspect, but your left shoulder is highlighting in blue, even though you're wearing blue, but it's just glowing blue behind you, and you've got a lot of white aura light, and there is a bit of green in behind you. But yeah, that's I feel like yeah, your father is very much present in your life, and he's very excited to be. Thank you. He's very excited to be present within your life in the day-to-day life. Um, and he's actually very proud of you for doing what you do for humanity.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
yeah,
That is so cool. And thank you again for validating that. Yeah, I always know he's around me, but I find that, but I have never met another person who has that same birth story.
yeah. The last, yeah, I can't remember. There's pieces missing, overlapping. I don't know. I know when I was, I thought it was 13 or something, but my mom says I think I was 9. They did surgery on the right ear and they cut in the skull and behind to see what they could do, and there was complications. And the surgeon that did it realized what was going on, and I was like meningitis fluid, something like that, and it would have caused what back in the day mental retardation, what they called it,
Yeah.
or paralyzation. So having that scenario, so they packed it up right away. They packed it up right away, and ever since they won't touch me, even with technology. I've been to Mount Sinai, I've been to Sunnybrook, I've been to, yeah, they won't.
That's wild. I had the same story. I wasn't 9, I was a year. And I don't know if you can see it, but I don't have a full ear. So when I was
Oh,
born, because I
okay.
was preemie, my ear was like this. It was closed.
Okay.
So I had to have plastic surgery when I was an infant, and they opened my ear, and then I had to get tested. And the hearing, they found I could hear, but it was interesting how I was sick too. I spent most of my childhood at sick kids. So I
Yeah.
always donate to sick kids because I spent the first 3, 4 months in an incubator there.
Yeah. I
Right?
was uh I was there every 6 months.
Me
Oh,
too. I was
oh
always
hearing.
there. Oh my goodness. Okay, that's going to show up when I study your chart later in depth. I'll have to get your permission, but I find that fascinating. How interesting is that? I only know one other person too, who shared with me on a message. It was interesting because I thought, I wonder if you'd want to be introduced to him. He is a podcaster. He lives in Newmarket, and he was initially a photographer. And when COVID hit, of course, all that changed. And somehow, I don't know how he got the download to start doing it or whatever, but he started doing these podcasts, but it's to support women. So he only interviews women. And he does, and now he's one of the top podcasters, and he just wants to hear your story. He'll ask you questions or whatever, but it just gives you like a social media shout out. You don't know who's listening. You could potentially get clients from it or whatever. But he shared with me, we've become friends. I've never met him. Um, and he told me that when he was born, that he spent the beginning of his life in sick kids too. And I was like, that's shocking, because he had all kinds of health issues too. Because he reached out, he put a post on social media and he was talking about allergy, and I said, I think you need to change your diet. I don't know you, but you sound like you've never been tested or whatever. And then he shared with me that he's had a lot of issues. And I'm like, isn't that interesting? Another person that spent the beginning of their life at sick kids. Us in Southern Ontario, where else were we going to go? That is so interesting. That is so interesting. No shock there. Okay, I'm going to keep sharing with you a little bit more, because there
Okay.
might be, I want to go back to your chart also too and share some other stuff. So let's keep going here. Okay, so with Saturn, I always like to give people just a message about your spiritual homework, because that's, he's like in Saturn, like that's where your good karma comes back to you as we get wiser and older in life. So I just always give people a message that I see. So if you have Saturn sign, your karmic lesson is to create a daily practice for you to forgive yourself and others. If you encounter any broken relationships, because remember, you're here to learn about yourself, and that's always usually going to happen for you through being in relationships with others, because it's in the sign of Gemini. And Gemini is always the other. Like Gemini, if you look at it, it's the twin. So Gemini has anything to do with the other person, about giving reflection, about speaking, writing, being an oracle, being a storyteller, right? And with Saturn being there, it's going to involve other people, guaranteed for you. Okay. But I did notice something really important in your chart, Jackie. And this is kind of like, I have like a little prayer that I do for myself when I do a reading for someone. Is, I have a general way of where I've been trained to look and read someone's astrological chart, but I also want to give them something that, is unique to them. So how I do it is I go and I take all your information, I start plugging it into the sheet, I look at all the data, and then I put it into a PDF, and then I let it go. And then usually when I'm walking or I'm doing something in my own meditation or whatever, I'll get an intuitive download and it'll tell me something to go look in your chart. And then I go look and I go, oh, okay. So for you, I was told to like look at your elements. So for you, you don't have, I'm going to go back and hold on. Let's go back and I'm going to show you this part of the chart, and then I'll read it to you what it means. So up here, you'll see a lot of the planets are all kind of clumped together, right? They're very close together. And there's a little chart. If you come down here to the right, you see at the bottom this little chart down here where it says FAEW.
Yeah, I
That
don't see that.
represents at the very bottom. Can you see it down on the right?
No, I can't see anything. I just have the embrace earth sign qualities, connect with nature.
Okay, it didn't kick it out. Okay, so let's see. That's what we're gonna do. What? I'll change it because sometimes Zoom sticks. Can you see it now?
I do, yes.
Okay, thanks for telling me. Okay, so let's move this down. Okay, so down here on the right, do you see this little chart? We're on the left-hand
Yes.
side where my pointer is. Okay, F means fire element, A means air element,
Yeah.
E, W. Okay, so you have some planets in fire. You have a lot of planets in air. So we kind of talked about, but I'm going to recap what that means. You have nothing in earth and you have a few in water. So you have your moon sign, you have Mercury, and you have Venus in water. So that's pretty good. But when you don't have any planets in an element, it's one of two things. It either means in this lifetime, you didn't need any planets in Earth, or there's not a lot of planets in Earth because you are good with routine. Like Earth element are things like, they represent Taurus and Capricorn, like strategies, steps, people that repeat things, it's very connected to the Earth. So either you have a lot of that or you don't have any of it and you need to implement that into your life so that you feel more balanced. Because when you don't have anything in an element, it's going to be an extreme of something. It's either one or the other. So in your chart, when we see that, it's just good to validate for you that you need to be connected to the earth. Like crystals, herbs, essential oils, your food, sticking your hands in the earth, smelling flowers, being whatever. So you may already be doing that, or just to remind yourself that that is what you need for that, like the balance. Okay. So if you ever, and it can also represent, earth can also represent like having structure, like making sure you have a planner, or making sure you are organized, that your office is, your desk is clean and it's organized. Because some people, like, they live in chaos and they can't figure out why they can't get anything done. And I say to people, well, I look at their chart, and sometimes it's an indication where it's just a reminder to tell you that when you have structure, it's always going to help you. Okay, that's all that message is. But when we see an empty thing, it's either you have too much of it or just to remind yourself you're going to need that. So I'm going to stop sharing that part of your chart. And then I'm going to go back here and come on. And let's go back to your sheet. And can you see that again?
Yes.
Okay. So that's just a recap of what I've put on here. All right. So incorporating more of the earth element in your life based on your birth chart, it can be a transformative process, aligning with personal and professional growth. Earth represents that stability, the practicality, and material success in astrology, and those looking to enhance this element may seek to ground themselves in these qualities. So here's just some suggestions. Again, earth sign are represented by Taurus, Virgo, and Capricorn. And all of those represent something kind of different as an earth sign. So Taurus represents focusing on cultivating that patience, that reliability, and the deeper appreciation for the physical senses, meaning enjoying nature, fine food, music, enhancing your connection to the material world. Virgo represents embracing practicality, attention to detail, and service-oriented approach. Organizing your life and workspaces can help channel this energy productively. And Capricorn is aiming for that discipline, having the responsibility and that ambition. So setting long-term goals and working steadily towards them can manifest the best of a Capricorn earthiness. So connecting with nature, spending time in natural settings to strengthen your bond with that earth element. Gardening, hiking, or even just walking barefoot on grass can help you feel more grounded and connected to the earth stabilizing energies. Material manifestation is earth is associated with material success and tangible outcomes. So work on manifesting your goals in a practical way. This might involve financial planning, investing in real estate, or start a business that aligns with earth-related industries such as agriculture, real estate, or even nutrition. Enhance your living space. Incorporate earth elements into your home or workspace through the use of natural materials like wood, stone, plants. Earth tones of landscapes can also help bring in and ground your energy. Practicing grounding techniques, grounding or earthing techniques such as meditation focused on the sensation of your body connecting with the ground can help you enhance your earth element. Visualization practices that involve imaging roots growing from your feet into the earth can also be powerful. The culinary connection is associated with nourishment, so preparing meals with whole unprocessed foods, especially root vegetables and grains, can help you connect with the earth through the act of cooking and eating. And also the philosophical reflection. And as the ancient philosopher Plato remarked, the greatest wealth is to live content with little, which resonates with Earth's elements call for simplicity, practicality, and finding abundance with those essentials of life. The mindset encourages a deeper appreciation for what we have and fosters a sense of contentment and gratitude. Implementing more of the earth element based on your astrological birth chart is a personalized journey. It's about bringing balance to your life and tapping into the stabilizing and nurturing qualities of the earth. And as you explore these suggestions, remember the goal is to foster the connection with the tangible world, enhancing both your personal grounding and your material well-being. So I put that, I'll give you a copy of this. I put that as like this whole thing here about having no earth element. I wrote that as a general message for anyone that I'm going to see that's going to have that. Okay. Now, based on our age, you might already be doing this, Jackie. Like you may already know that, but you know, you may have figured that out. But when you see that in your astrological birth chart, it's like, it's validating. It's like, I need that for me. Right? Other people need something completely different. Is that one of your pets?
I'm on Zoom at the moment. Hold on 1 second. Yes.
Yeah.
I'm busy at the moment. Yeah, it's my little one. I have two little ones. One
No
is
worries.
yeah, sorry about that.
No worries. I'm a pet lover, so I get it. So yeah, you know, as we get older, we realize that. So this is just your general information. Again, your sun sign, your moon sign, your Saturn sign is just a reminder of, you know, you're not just that sun sign. When we have someone's astrological birth chart data at the time they're born, we can look at your rising sign. And that, if you believe in, like, you know, if you believe, which I'm sure you do, of, you know, coming back, what's that called when you come back again?
Reincarnation.
Reincarnation. In astrology, that is what we believe is, you know, your ascendant is what you're going to evolve into in this lifetime. So as we're here longer, it just becomes more natural. It's where our soul really blossoms, but it's where your soul left off in the previous lifetime. Approximately, some people believe around, like Alice Bailey wrote, you know, around the age of 21, you know, so every time your soul reincarnates, you know, you're coming back to enhance that. So I don't know, I find that really fascinating. My rising sign is a Libra, so I can relate to you being a Libra sun sign, because Libras can seem kind of flaky, right? Because we're kind of, oh, we say this, we say that, because, you know, we're always looking at both sides of things, or someone says something to us and we're quiet because we know the truth and we don't say anything. We just play the dumb blonde. Like, and so I come across as flaky, but the truth is, yeah, I know what's going on. You just don't think I know. Right?
Yeah.
Like Libra, other people don't get that about Libra.
Yeah.
A Libra does. I get you. Right?
Yeah.
So it's fascinating. So, you know, when you know your other signs. So, and then I go deeper into the charts too. Like I look at, you know, the North Node placement where you're destined to become. So my 10-week program is to align people with that and start giving them clues of how they can start spending their time where they literally feel happy. It has nothing to do with what you do for a living. And I said, if you go do that, you know, or where we're wounded, like we're all wounded, like there is nobody who's perfect, right?
Nobody is.
So
And when people can embrace that, it is only then are willing to change.
yes, and to go, hey, okay, so
Yeah,
that's a part of me that's always going to hurt.
yeah,
It's you're
exactly.
always going to get it, you're always going to be,
Yes,
you know. So,
yeah.
you know, there's other parts, but I do find, like, even I studied in astrology, like just to give a first reading with someone, you know, just the basic information of what I shared with you today is just to validate that for you, right? Especially for you, for your earth element,
Yeah.
right? So your crystals, your gemstones, all your plants, your animals, right? I get it, right? I
Hmm.
totally get it. So yeah. So was there anything in that information that was interesting, or was it, yeah, I already know that about myself, or I just like to get reflection because I
Yes.
find astrology interesting.
Yeah. So thank you for doing that, first and foremost. Thank you so much for taking the time to do this for me.
You're welcome.
Um, the I've had my chart done before, so there's a lot of similarities. Um, some of the personalities I don't kind of balance with. I don't feel that it's me. Um, you know, I do agree with I am connected to water and air. I feel very connected to water very strongly. Um, I do try to find balance within everything and everyone. Over the course of the years, it has come more adamant that I set boundaries within myself because as much as I give, I give and I never expect to receive because that's not who I am.
Right.
Um, some of the personalities, I don't know what I think you said something about like can't remember what you said. It's like, okay, I don't feel that I'm connected to that one, but um, you know, there's different traits. Because I don't know what time I was born. My mom doesn't even remember because everything just happened so fast. Um,
Where were you born again? Georgetown?
yeah, Georgetown.
You can always, it's free information, you know. You can call the hospital and ask for the records department and just say, can I please get my exact birth chart information from the records? And most hospitals will give it to you. My girlfriend just got it from Austria, where she was born. She's the same age as me. It was just a phone
Really?
call. Yeah, it's free information. You don't have to pay. So if you're ever interested in just asking, because Georgetown's a pretty small hospital, they might just, you know, you just say, you know, and I wouldn't tell them why, but I would just say, is it possible to get my exact birth chart information?
That's interesting. Okay.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
free.
But no, I found everything beautifully put together and I thank you. Definitely the earth element is interesting because I love putting my feet in the grass. I love touching the trees. I actually sometimes during meditation I'll sit and I'll hold on to the leaves or I'll touch the roots. And you know, for me doing what I do, I feel incredibly blessed and honored because it's like if someone shows me a picture, it's like downloads. If I touch a tree and I ask, what is the message? What do you have for me? What is the message for humanity? What is the message for? It's a download. And
Right.
it just seems like so I love Earth in a sense where I feel very strongly connected. So I find it very odd. So maybe it's the fact that I have so much
Yeah.
of it. I don't feel that I'm lacking or missing.
Yeah.
I feel very connected to Mother Earth. I do a lot of channeling on her behalf. So but yeah, everything about it was very beautifully put together. A lot of it does resonate. The personality, there's a couple of traits, and like, okay. Um, I can't remember what you said word for
I
word. I
think
have
it
to go
was
back.
in the beginning when I was doing the
Yeah,
Libra, because I
it
felt
was
it
in the
too when I
beginning.
was reading it. I was like, this
Yeah,
might have been you when you were younger, but I don't think
yeah,
it's who you are now.
yeah. I was very shy And I didn't speak a lot when I was a kid.
Yeah.
I didn't speak a lot. So, but yeah, it's no, everything about it, everything just seems kind of like home. Business wise, I'm still trying to, I mean, my business is growing. I am busy and I'm so grateful for that. It's just, I want to get like more. So it's just kind of, and I know that in me and my beliefs, everything happens in divine timing. So,
What do
because
you
I
mean
truly
by
believe,
more? What do you mean by more? Do you want, hold on, because I can look at what else is happening in your chart. So, um, okay, I'm just going to share this screen with you as we're talking. And
like I
sometimes,
know what my God shows me where my path is going, and I'm just curious to perhaps if you I don't want you doing anymore because you've done so much for me already, and I'm so blessed and grateful. But
no, it's
just
okay.
if there's something like career wise, is this going to uh because spirit tells me one thing, so I'm just curious to see what you get to see if
Okay.
they validate with each other.
Okay, so here's what I can share with you because it's pretty basic information. So I'll just and these are some of the things I do in my little videos. So if you're ever interested, like I post some on social media on Tuesdays, but you can always go to my my YouTube channel, which I'll follow up with you and share with you. And I kind of share what's happening in astrology, and sometimes I give tidbits about just basic things, but it gives people some information because you don't have to be an astrologer to figure it out. So
No,
in astrology, there's just a couple of basic things is that the planets are moving in their own elliptical pattern around the earth, and every planet represents something specific. But when it comes to our work, it has to do with certain planets that represent certain things. So, right, Mercury, which is where yours is in Scorpio, there, Mercury represents our mind, right? Like our intellectual mind. We need to know how our intellectual mind works so that we are putting our skill set to work where it's easy for us. And for some people, you know, they feel like they're in the wrong job. It's because I always say you got to look at your Mercury, because your Mercury, how your mind works is perfect, right? So doing what you're doing is good. But Jupiter, the planet of Jupiter, is the planet of wealth. Okay, so you've got Jupiter over here, and he's in the sign of Sagittarius. So Sagittarius is like the teacher, like Jupiter is a teacher. So, you know, your opulent wealth might even come with you thinking about even teaching how to do what you do, right? Doing
I
some,
yeah, I've been guided to do that, but I'm just been so with other
yeah,
things that yeah, it's on my list. I
yeah.
am teaching, but I'm not teaching mediumship, but I am teaching the writing
Okay. The
at this time.
autonomic writing.
The automatic writing, yeah.
Okay. All right. Because Jupiter right now, these planets that are on the outside in green, if you follow my arrow, the planet of Jupiter right now is in the sign of Taurus. Okay. So he's over here, and the planets move this way. They go around clockwork, right?
Okay.
So the planet of Jupiter is in the sign of Taurus, and Jupiter is when he gets up here into the sign of Gemini. Gemini represents writing, speaking, communication, teaching, that kind of stuff. So he's usually about, I think he's about 18 months before he comes out of one sign and moves into another. So
Okay.
you could be preparing for that, like wherever Jupiter is. And because we don't know the time you're born, I can't look at the house. So I can only look at the astrological sign.
True.
But when Jupiter is going to be in the sign of Gemini for you, that might be a really good time for you when your teaching is going to expand, because Jupiter expands everything, because Jupiter represents spirituality, growth, the bigness, right?
Right.
Expansion, right?
Okay. Okay.
So that's what I can say for you is when it's in Taurus, it's about, you know, the structure, the focus, the creating the how you want to do something so that, you know, it's going to launch. And, you know, just from an astrology point of view, the planet Uranus right next to it, he's sitting next to Jupiter. Uranus represents the trends and where, you know, the people are all kind of doing the same thing at the same time. And even if we live on different parts of the earth and we don't understand how we're all thinking the same way and feeling the same way, it has to do with the outer planets. So when the planet Uranus is going to move into Jupiter, a lot of astrologers are talking about, you know, that's where you're going to see a big trend in independent journalism, independent teaching, independent schooling. Like there's a lot of things happening on the planet right now where a lot of our structures of like the school system, the medical system, the government system are coming down because
Yes.
we're going to be independent,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
So
Absolutely.
if that's where you're feeling drawn, then what Jupiter is telling me is, you know, get your structure in place now. Like if it's the atomic writing and whatever, then it's, you know, getting your clients, getting the testimonials, getting the video, sharing the examples, getting your, you know, how you want to teach it, that kind of stuff in
Yeah.
order, because when he hits that Gemini, then that's when it's just going to be like, psh,
Yeah.
right? Does that make
Yeah. No, this
sense?
is my second or third time around for teaching now. So
Yeah.
it's going quite well.
Yeah, I get that. And just let me look and see, because that's Jupiter and you've got Mercury. Mercury right now is sitting down here in the sign of Aquarius. So again, that's very woo-woo. That's very oracle stuff.
Okay.
And then in Pisces. So when
Interesting.
yeah, when Mercury goes into Pisces, which is going to be next month, he's going to go retrograde in April. So I'm just talking out loud, but when because I'm thinking ahead myself because I'm into writing and teaching. So I do this myself. I plan it in my calendar when to do certain things. So you could even do Mercury's going to go into the sign of Pisces, and Pisces is like the sign of like retreats, you know, it's behind the scenes, it's a closing of something as well. So you could even offer like a writer's retreat for
Yeah, I
April.
thought about doing a retreat in the summer. That came up in my mind over the Christmas holidays.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Okay.
a good
That's
time to do
beautiful.
it would be April. I'm just from an astrology point of view. I'm
Yeah.
just saying, like when Mercury goes retrograde, it's a good time to rethink, redo, or write, or whatever. Or it could be when you actually redo it, or or do it and get reflection from people, like and have an opportunity to tweak it. Like, does that make
Okay.
sense? So
Yeah.
that you're
No,
ready for the
April
summer?
is it. Yeah, I've got a lot going on in April, which is beautiful. So very good to know.
Yeah, you know, you could do it that way. But
Okay.
yeah, but yeah. So with Mercury and water, that's yeah, it's intense.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Yeah. So yeah, no,
Mwah.
nice to meet you. It's good to, and I find that so interesting about the same that's about, you know, being born the same way and the same whatever.
Yeah.
Like that almost
Yeah.
makes my hair stand up underneath my shirt.
Well, we all meet for a reason when we're supposed to meet,
Oh, I believe that too. I believe
you
that.
know.
So, and just
So
to thank you and to give you some feedback, I said to Tammy, I said, well, I got a message through my dad with Jackie. And I said, you know, I've had other intuitives tell me this, and I kept brushing it off. But it was the way you said it when you channeled it was to do like, you know, work with my hands because, you know, I did it for fun. I didn't think it was making an effect on people where I would use high grade essential oils and give people a hand massage. I can do the whole body. I've been trained, but then just to give them like an oracle message and do readings. And that's what I kind of tossed up with Tammy to do, but I was doing
I
it separately.
saw that. I think that's amazing.
Yeah, and but when you said it, I went back to Tim and I said, "This is what we need to do here." I said, because that's the message I got from Jackie. So if this other stuff we're promoting and it's not flying, and I said, and I wound up sitting in front of Jackie and she gave me that message. I said, let's try doing that here. And she goes, okay. And I was like, so for me to get that message from you in her space, I was like, no, Tammy, we have to pay attention. Looking at her going, this is what we need to do.
Yeah.
Because
Yes.
Jackie told me.
It's me, but it's not me.
I know.
I'm just a grateful vessel on their behalf. I'm
Exactly.
just honored and humbled and grateful, and I give so much gratitude to Spirit.
Yeah.
It's just incredibly how much all day long, 24/7. But it's so thanks, Spirit, thank you, and
Yes, and thank you.
yes,
So we're
so
starting tomorrow. I said to her,
nice,
we'll start on Fridays. I asked her staff, I
sweet.
go, what day? And she goes, Friday. I said, that's what we're gonna start. And yeah, my business coach says it's the low-hanging fruit. It's what you offer. That's a low ticket where people get to know you, you follow up with them, blah, blah, blah. So I was like, okay, that's where I'm going to start. So, and I can walk there because I don't have a car. I'm staying with family and stuff. So it's easy. I just literally walk across the field and I'm right there. So, and I believe
Beautiful.
that, there's always something you can do. You can't say, I can't make any money. No, there's always something you can do. Right.
Always.
So thank you for that too, in reflection. And yeah, and if you're are you going to be back before you go, are you doing anything else with Tammy? Do you have another event planned?
I don't have another event planned. I have, I think it's 3 people that like just an open setting for 3 people. Um, right now, my fur baby is not well,
Right.
so I've been on dealing with communicating with a holistic practitioner, which she's an angel in my eyes, because there's been a few occasions where I thought I had to make that decision.
Yeah.
And she's only 8 or 9 years old. And to kind of put the whole story together, literally took her off pharmaceutical. And I've never been, and I don't mean any disrespect to anyone. I'm not a pharmaceutical supporter.
Me
Just because
either.
I see so much, and because of the education that I have through Spirit, through what I see and feel. So, anyways, switched to holistic medications like tinctures and natural stuff.
Yeah.
Within 24 hours, I had my girl back,
Yeah.
but she still doesn't have use of that leg. So, but the energy, the appetite, the just everything about her is back. So I'm still working with the acupuncture. So right now, I'm trying to accommodate most of my readings via Zoom
Yeah.
so that I can be with her more often because she's on a regime. Like today, I got dog food, and they were out of like one of our tinctures. Just the dog food and the tincture was $231.
Yeah, I know.
But I am not grudging.
Yeah.
If for me, I don't have children,
Yeah.
so they are my kids, and there's nothing I won't do. So, well, I'd love to set up another event with Tammy just right now in the next 4 to 6 weeks, anyway. Um, just spend more time with her to be with her and help her and that kind of thing. And then I have the other little one. They're both rescues from the Dominican. I don't know if you can see
Oh
her.
yeah. I've had
They're both,
rescues before. Yeah.
yeah. So they're both from the Dominican. So, but yeah, that's why I'm busy with the Zoom readings.
Okay.
But I had to talk with Tammy. Like I'm sure I'll bump into her, talk because we talk every now and then, just to set up. But it's trying to coordinate because I really believe that people who are meant to be there will be there.
Yeah.
Because again, I think Spirit leads the way, and for me, Spirit leads the way. So, not to say I don't put in the work. I do put in 100% plus, but I truly believe that whoever's meant to be there will be there.
Yeah.
But I love Tammy. She's a sweetheart.
Yeah.
She's an
Yeah. She's been very
absolute
kind to me. Yeah.
Yeah, she's an absolute sweetheart, and I think we went to high school together. I didn't hang around with her, but
Yeah,
we went to high school together. But no, she's a beautiful soul, and I love her inside out. So
yeah,
yeah,
yeah. That's awesome. And just to share, because I built a house and raised my kids in Erin. I don't know what vet you use, but I know in there was a vet right on Highway 24 that was closer to Rockwood, and they were holistic.
yeah. No, she actually is a friend of a friend that I got who introduced us.
Okay.
And she actually comes into my home and did an assessment and
Oh,
like
that's good.
literally like just stopping her meds
Yeah.
because they were killing her liver and kidneys. Plus they were drugging her to the point she slept all day long. And it was just like someday that I'm like, okay, today's the day. Today's the day. And to
Yeah.
think that I even thought that way,
Yeah.
it yes.
Yeah. I can relate.
So
Yeah.
but no, I mean that was her barking earlier. And but again, she's energetic, she's eating, she's taking everything in, no problem, and it's a big difference. Um she has circulation in the paw now because it's warm.
Yeah.
So as before, there was nothing. It was just constantly cold. So it's just telling us that there's some. So what she has is what they're saying is a nerve-shaped tumor. And what happened was she had a little like a little pimple, right, on her pad. And I just took her to the vet, and they're like, oh, just maybe she stepped on something. They burst it and they cleaned it. 2 weeks later, she starts limping. Next thing I know, she's holding up. She can't walk. What they did was whatever the bacteria infection went back up into her body.
Yeah.
And they're not, there's no blame here. What's done is done, but they're
Yeah.
not owning it. They're not
Yeah.
owning it. So it just, I went through those emotional phases because my girls are all I have.
Yeah. I hear you. Yeah. And I don't know if you're open to it too, but like I'm a firm believer in natural solutions because my own health issues that, like I had so many health issues that it got to the point where I met someone that same day when my doctor said to me, I don't know what to give you. Like everything's flagged in your chart. I hope you never get sick. And I walked out of there going, what? Right. But that literally an hour later, I had a conversation with a woman who just got her certification, holistic something or another. I can't remember. And we became instant friends. I went to her house the next day, and, within 24 hours, I'm like feeling like $1 million. Like, I'm taking herbs and, I'm using essential oils. I'm getting Reiki, like, massage, whatever. And I was like, what just happened? Right. Again, that's the door, one door shutting, another one closing. Right.
Yes,
And
yes,
so I've never looked back. And
yes.
what for me, because I've had dogs, I had cats when I was younger, but I've had more dogs in my adult life. And I got into studying about essential oils. That's what I'm going to be doing at Tammy's tomorrow. But if it's a pure grade of an essential oil, so I only use doTERRA, it's network marketing, where
I love those products.
they're great for animals.
Love those products.
So you can Google that, Jackie, like in the recovery process or just in your dog maintenance or whatever. You can just start Googling online
Yeah.
and looking at some of that, because frankincense is the king of essential oils. And there's a lot of them that are safe for dogs, and there's a lot of them that are not. So you have
Yes.
to Google what is safe for dogs. So
Yeah. So
lavender is good, frankincense, right? There's a few you could use.
there's a tincture that she's on that came from Australia.
Yeah.
It's for the nerve sheath tumor, so it's supposed to help with the inflammation. So
Yeah.
that she's loving that. She's on a tincture that I got today. It's a liver detox because of the amount of time she's been on the pharmaceutical products. It's done a bit of damage, so now we're trying to flush that out. Just increased energy, everything's fasting, and then she's on another product. Woof, I don't know what that means. It doesn't mean like that, but it's some sort of a tincture and then she's on a rebalance. There's three, and then there's a mushroom changa changa mushroom that she's
Oh,
on.
chaga,
The
chaga,
changa.
yeah. Okay, that's
So
perfect. That's excellent because
yeah,
chaga. So I used to take a lot of classes, so I love this stuff. These are what my videos are all about. Chaga is, we're not allowed to legally say this, but chaga reduces tumors. It's the same as frankincense. So chaga can shrink a tumor of anything. It's powerful. So it's a mushroom because mushrooms give birth to where there was death. So a mushroom can regenerate anything. So that's really good. That's an excellent stuff. So more and more people are realizing this stuff. You can get it in health food stores or whatever. So that's really good. You know,
yeah,
again, it's all these natural remedies that are available that even 10 years ago we didn't have, where now we
yeah,
can get that stuff, right? So that's
yeah,
good.
yeah. So
Yeah.
no, I'm gonna yeah, so I'm gonna reach out to Tammy to see what she wants to do. Maybe
Yeah, because I'll refer you because that's what I'm thinking. I might have some friends that'll come out,
okay.
right? Just so I can support you, right? And
Well,
people
thank
that I
you.
know that live in the
Well,
area that would probably enjoy,
yeah. Well, I
you know,
truly believe in supporting local, and I resonate with you. I resonate with what you do, and I love and adore you.
thank
So
you.
I mean, I share and I talk about, and I whatever
Yeah.
I can do to help. But yeah, so thank you for your love and support.
Yeah, thank you. Because I think maybe Tammy would be cool if she did like a woo-woo event rather than a health and wellness event. Like I get it, it's a spa, but there's a lot of people. I mean, we're in the age of Aquarius. Like the woo is going to become very norm.
Yeah, a lot of
Right?
people are awakening.
Oh yeah.
A
That's the name
lot
of
of
my
people.
show, Introvert. It's called Wake Up with Tamron, where people are realizing we're not
I've
just
been
here to buy
watching
stuff.
you.
Oh, thank you.
I've been watching
I
you.
love talking.
Yes.
Can
Well,
you
one of
tell?
these days you're going to have me on your show.
Well, yeah. So just reach out to me because that's what that show is where I did with Tammy. So you have to have
I
worked with
watched you
me.
guys. It was amazing.
Yeah. Well, you have to have worked with me because it's kind of like a show where I want to promote other people that are into this spiritual woo-woo stuff, but you kind of have to have worked with me. So if people say to me, "Can I be on your show?" and they've never hired me or supported me, the answer is no. I had to
I,
learn how to say no because it's putting me in my, as an entrepreneur and learning what we do for free, what we don't do for free. Because my mantra for 2024 is I am no longer free because I'm the same as you. I've done so much for free and didn't even realize that I just changed somebody's life. I had no idea
yes,
because
I've
I'm an
done hundreds
intuitive
of
too.
free readings, but now I only do them if Spirit tells me to,
Yeah.
because there's a reason why.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah. So
Absolutely.
yeah, when your life's calmed down a little bit, then they'll book you in because it'll give you exposure. We can't actually say anything to promote your business. We can do your banner, but that goes on TV. That goes on Rogers TV. And my goal is, and I'll just share this with you because I told this to Tammy. My goal is to travel and to get sponsors, people to sponsor me so that I can go to more places. But the sponsorship is, you know, I've done something for you, you've done something for me. So it's a way for me to leverage and level up because I feel that's how I'm going to get a vehicle. It sounds weird, but it feels to me like that's how, just helping other people because the age of Aquarius, and this is what I'm trying to get people understand. To me as an astrologer, it's like, what do you have what do you need that I have an excess of that doesn't cost me anything because I already have it? And how can I help you? And you get what I'm saying? That's the age of Aquarius. That's the movement that's happening. It's not what's happening on the news. It's the
No,
people helping each other is how I see we're going to move into a whole new direction.
love it. Love it.
Right?
Love it.
So that's why we did that. I did that interview with Tammy because I initially did a reading for her like 6 months ago when I was up north. And when I came back, I reconnected and we're trying to find something that I can do there where I can start creating some income, right? And get my business off and running because I've been working behind the scenes for 3 years. It's time for me to get out there, right? So I had to come out of Northern Ontario to get down where there's people. the woods. Like there's nobody around me except the chipmunks and the birds. Like those aren't my clients.
Yeah, right.
Right. So yeah, just reach out when your life's a little bit calmer.
Yeah.
And then we can even film it at Tammy's.
Yeah, that's
They'll let
fine.
us.
Oh, yeah. 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 No,
Okay.
I'd love that. I mean, when the timing's right, divine says it's time and you say yes, and
Yeah.
totally,
Yeah.
totally.
When your fur babies calm down, just make a little note for yourself just to reach out and say, hey, I'd love to do that interview, and we'll just start it
Yeah.
from there. Okay.
Yeah. Sounds good. Rah.
Thank you so much. Sending
Have a
healthy vibes to your fur babies.
Yes. She's like I said, she's done so well in the
Yeah.
last couple of weeks, but just now I just need to kind of make sure to maintain it. And she goes for acupuncture next week. So it's been an investment, but I'm not begrudging it.
Yeah. And do you use animal communicators? Do you use people that can talk to animals? Oh, I know some.
No, but I use spirit with her.
Okay.
Oh, you just had an orb right across your face.
Oh
Go
yeah.
down this. Yes,
Believe
amazing.
it. I used to have, and I'll share this just something fun because I had a medium. Do you know Carolyn Molnar? She lives
No,
in Toronto. Okay. When I had my brick and mortar business, it was in Bellefontaine.
okay.
And I bought the old general store back in 2007 or 2008, April 2008. Um, yeah, because it was exactly 15 years ago. So in astrology, certain patterns with numbers 15 years ago was really an important number. So it's interesting how my business is relaunching exactly 15 years to the almost to the month to the time. So it's interesting because in astrology, everything's patterns. So you look at patterns to find whatever. But anyways, getting off track a bit. So um I shut my business down because it wasn't working, and I kept it tracking because it was health and wellness. It was an organic vegan smoothie juice bar, and I wanted to do more of the coaching. But again, it was teaching people how to use all the natural remedies for emotional wellness, which is still what I do, but I had to learn my marketing. So, anyways, I was struggling, and people were telling me, you gotta learn marketing, blah, blah, blah. So I went away and to live at my cottage and go back and forth. And I had to figure out my new marketing plan and what I was going to do because I kept attracting all these psychics and psychic mediums, and they all kept telling me the same stuff, but they didn't tell me the when and the how and all the stuff I needed to learn on my own, anyways. But I kept getting that same message. And one of the things I did at the end, I got this intuitive download to host a live event because I had so many uh, mediums telling me that my building was full of all these energies. And so we were doing these little events. And so I had this woman, Carolyn Molnar, come down. I just called her out of the blue. The place was jam packed. It was full of people. And it was such a powerful event. And she even said to me, she goes, how do you sleep here? She goes, this is like Grand Central Station. I said, I have no problem sleeping because I don't hear any of that stuff. My intuitive woo-woo is something totally different. I said, so I'm okay there. But it opened people's minds to, what was happening in that building. And it's so interesting how nothing survives there. No business survives. There's just so much going on there energetically. It's unbelievable.
Wow.
Unbelievable. Yeah. So I know why I'm sharing that with you, but all this woo-woo stuff and speaking to the other side, I know so many people that do this kind of stuff.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
The more light we share, the better.
It's about the woo. It's time for people to wake up. This is a world of, yeah, we're physical and we're spiritual, and there's so much more, right? So
Absolutely.
anyways, I can keep talking. Don't know why I shared that with you, but hey. Oh, I know why. When they came, getting back to the orbs, I'll close off. When they came and people did readings, they used to say the building was just full of orbs, that place. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Wow.
I will let you go. We'll be in touch, okay?
All right, my dear. Have a good night.
You too. Bye.
Bye-bye.